Hello, everyone. Max Stratton here again. Um, this is chapter 4 of our Leadership and Communication Perspective textbook. It's on transformational and charismatic leadership. Give you a quick overview first before we start. It starts off with the transformational approach to leadership, the characteristics of transformational leadership, and then the segments of creative, interactive, visionary, empowering, and passionate. Those really are the characteristics of a true leader. You got to be creative. You have to be interactive, with your clients and your coworkers or your, teammates. Always have to have a vision, you know, shooting for the future and thinking about, getting to the next step. Got to be empowered and always have to be passionate. Then we go on to perspectives on charisma, the sociological approach, the behavioral/attribution approach, the communication approach. I'll be discussing that through the video as well. The transformational and charismatic leadership, is it interchangeable or distinct? And then the alternative approaches to outstanding leadership, authentic leadership, and the CIP model, which I'll be speaking to you about. So first, when I was reading through this textbook, I found a great little section that I wanted to read with you and then give my 2 cents on it. The transactional leader is most concerned with the satisfaction of physiological safety and belonging needs. To meet these needs, a transactional leader exchanges rewards or privileges or desirable outcomes, much the way a Marine drill sergeant would trade a weekend pass for a clean barracks. So in reading that, that's a great example right there. Just like the way a Marine drill sergeant would trade a weekend pass for a clean barracks. In order to be a transactional leader, you have to make an exchange. You have to make a deal with someone in order to make it like a perfect outcome for the team or the group or all your colleagues. I also found 2 more things. The second one, which I thought was super important and impactful, is the sociological approach, which is created by this German sociologist Max Weber, who the term which Weber borrowed from the theology means gift in Greek. Early Christians believed that God gave special gifts or abilities to church leaders. Weber expanded the definition of gifted leadership to include all leaders, both religious and non-religious, who attracted devoted followers through their extraordinary powers. So that's kind of like the faith coming in to perspective for the sociological approach. And Mr. Weber came up with the charisma idea. And that actually comes up in this chapter of the communication approach, where it talks about charismatics as relationship builders and charismatics as impression managers. So, charisma is one thing, and then to be charismatic in your relationship building and making a good impression as managers is another thing. Working with your CEO, they use CEO as an example, and throughout the market, and this builds on through your relationships to become more significant and impactful in the end. A great little snippet from the textbook as well on the communication approach says communication is more than an important element of charismatic leadership. However, we believe that charisma is the product of communication. We agree with Robert Richardson and Catherine Dyer, who point out that charisma isn't so much a gift as it is a specific form of communication. Richardson and Thayer argue that we cannot exert charismatic influence by working to improve our communication skills. So that quote, charisma isn't so much as a gift as it is a specific form of communication, is a great, ending quote. It's really true, actually. The charisma is a gift, but it also is a specific form of communication. You have to be empowering in order to be a leader and speak to your team in a certain way. This way, the transformational leadership goes both ways. You have to give something in order to receive something. That way, everyone, works out perfectly.